Welcome to the Freedom Experience. I'm your host, John Moncrief, and every week I answer your questions or bring on expert guests to share their journeys, their strategies, and their secrets to help you create a more valuable business, a business that brings you joy, and when the time's right, you can sell at a premium. If you're a business owner looking for a dream team of experts to help you maximize the value of your business and find the freedom that you dreamt of when you set off on your entrepreneurial journey, then you're in the right place. So this week I'm talking about putting the lead generation cart before the strategy horse, so to speak. And what do I mean by that? Well, most business owners I talk to recognize that the future of their business is something that they need to focus on, but they're too caught up in the weeds to get it done. So here's what I hear usually. Jean, I really need to work on the future of my business. But first, I need to get this lead generation thing sorted out. Believe me, I know the feeling. Running a small business ain't no walk in the park. For most of us, it feels a lot like, and I imagine that scene from Star Wars when Leia and Luke are on the forest moon of Endor on those speedsters kind of flying between the trees, and these things are coming at them so fast and they're dodging them and the other guys are kind of crashing into them and explosions. And for us or for you, it might feel more like you're galloping on a horse through that same forest, completely directionless, with sort of trees all around you. And instead, a cartload of products in front of your horse that's just kind of veering left and right around you. So you've got no direction. You don't know where you're going. There's these trees popping up everywhere. And basically, the cart of your products and services is pulling you in all different directions. So if you're feeling like that, you absolutely just got to pull in the reins there, get off the horse and start finding some direction. You also got to lighten up that cart in front of you, take it off and hitch it up behind your horse. So in doing that and getting off the horse and just pausing for a moment, putting your lead generation aside and just thinking, okay, I need to get this horse and I need to start planning and working on this business. You've got to start asking yourself questions like, what's the future of my business? Where is this thing going? How are we going to get there? And if you're galloping headlong through the trees all the time without doing these things, you're going to crash. It's only a matter of time. You're also wasting valuable resources. And in wasting these valuable resources like marketing, product development, sales, performing random acts of marketing or pursuing that next bright, shiny object or the tactic of the week, you're wasting a huge amount of resource. So you're pulling yourself to absolute limits, and you're wondering why you aren't generating new leads, or you're not breaking through that glass ceiling. And it's because your product and services card is kind of going in all different directions, and you're running after it all the time, and you're never really making any traction or getting anywhere. So put simply, the reason you're so desperate for business is that all of this stuff is just tearing your attention in all different directions. Your business has become overly complex. You just don't have a plan. You're desperately dodging the trees. And it just feels like you've got to just keep following that cart of product and services wherever it goes. And while you're galloping around on your horse, dodging trees and pulling in different directions, your competitors are upgrading to speeders. They're installing GPS and tree detection on those speeders. And they're mounting laser cannons on the front. And I use laser cannons as a metaphor for being insanely targeted on their audience. So let's summarize this up. And here's what's going on, right? Typically, the reason that I get this question or get into this conversation where I need to focus on the leads first, then we'll talk about strategy, or then I can deal with strategy, is because your business probably has too many products or services. Your business has become overly complex, number 2. As a result, number 3, your resources are stretched to the limit. And number 4, while you're dodging trees, your competition's out there innovating. The solution right now is to reset or possibly even reinvent your business. to remove the complexity, to simplify your business. So very often businesses that fail or end up failing to reinvent themselves, where the owner's too caught up in the weeds, the trees, however you want to look at that, to look into the future, the business ends up dying. And even great companies fail. It's not just the small businesses. If you've ever read The Innovator's Dilemma by Clay Christensen, I'll put it in the show notes. It's riddled with stories of great firms that just simply failed. And not because they were badly run, but because they failed to see what was going on around them. The owners or the boards were too often arrogant or too sort of full of their own egos, but too busy to see what was going on around them. And you think of brands like Sears, IBM, Wang, Nixdorf, Commodore, Tandy, Sun Microsystems, all those great brands that at one time were innovative and creators of great things, have evaporated or disappeared. And they were well-managed companies. They were innovative companies, but they became slow. They became more complex. They focused less on what the competition was doing. They became too arrogant. And they had to spend months on product development, on structuring the business, and just ignoring the change that was simply going on around them. Now, that's something that as small businesses, we just don't have, or as small businesses, we just don't have the luxury of doing that kind of stuff. We can't become too big, complex, and slow. That's the advantage of being a small business, lies in our agility and the ability to be able to do things quickly. And I'm not talking about, or don't want to confuse you with thinking about doing things quickly or the agility, meaning that you can chase that next shiny object. That's part of the problem. That's how complexity wiggles into the business. So don't confuse agility with next shiny object syndrome. And just to be clear on what the next shiny object syndrome is, it's something that most entrepreneurs are guilty of, in that we are constantly scanning for new opportunities. And these new opportunities are kind of shiny, sexy things that we think, I can pursue that, and the sales team reckons I can sell it, so let's build that product, let's market it, and let's get it out the door. Sure, there's a degree of agility there, but you're going off in a completely different direction. I often talk about looking at this like a dartboard, where your core value proposition is the bullseye, and as you go further away from that bullseye, these are the sort of bright, shiny objects that pull you away from your core value proposition. So be very aware of bright, shiny objects. Often your sales folks will come in and they'll say, hey, we've got this brilliant opportunity to create X, Y, and Z because customers want it. But it's only one customer wants it, and you put all the work into creating it. There's actually no market for it, and you've wasted a huge amount of resource on that. And you've made your business more complex. So that's the way that complexity wiggles in. It's the reason so many small business owners kind of end up without a plan or a strategy, and fall prey to this opportunistic kind of mindset, or this Me Too, or these Me Too tactics. I'm going to follow competitors there, or also want to do that, or I'm going to create that, or I've got to have AI, or I've got to have talk about AI or machine learning or whatever because everybody else is. Bring it back, get the complexity out of your business, and don't drift away from your bullseye. So, shiny object syndrome, it's rampant, it's in businesses, and very often those businesses do not have a clear vision. They don't have a clear value proposition. They don't have a plan. There's no niche and no competitive advantage. I know, I've been there. I was all over the place. My core business was around document storage, records management, but I was out there building recruitment firms, hot desk type co-working spaces, things that were just kind of not even near the dartboard. They were gone. They were like on the back wall somewhere. So this is why getting your vision and your plan is so important. This is why just pulling in the reins and stopping the horse is so important, so that you're not performing these random tactics or random acts of marketing or stretching your resources in all different directions, and then landing up building a new campaign and firing up new kind of marketing campaigns and all the stuff that goes with it. So 5 things that you can do right now to very simply deal with where you are. And I want to share these with you today. The first thing is having that plan. So just pulling the reins, stopping the horse, and having a plan. And you need to find time to build that plan. And the good news is that it can really take you about 2 days a year. There's a great system called EOS, and I'll put that into the show notes again. So EOS is an excellent tool for creating a 2-page plan for where you're going to go in the next few years, not just the next year. And I have something called the Vision Traction Organizer, and brilliant for doing just that. So pull in the reins, take a couple of days. It's not going to be the end of the world, and figure out, where your business is going, what it's all about, and what things are going to look like in the future. Then simply visit that plan every quarter and execute against it. What worked last quarter? What didn't work last quarter? What do you need to fix? And again, there's a sort of half-day, 1-day process for that in EOS that you can follow really easily. And then block time out every day. Focus your time. So block time out to get the work done every day. And maybe it's half an hour of work that you've got to do every day. I block out creative time in the mornings, 30 minutes for email at lunch, 30 minutes for email in the evening. Emails, it can be one of those terrible distractions. You want to kind of have time for emails and admin, and then just focus on the work that needs to get done, and actually have it in your schedule. Like, this is when I'm going to do this piece of work. That's when I'm going to write that blog post, or that's when I'm going to do some LinkedIn outreach, or whatever it is. But there's a target or focus to that work you're doing. Whittle down your products and your services so that you have products that bring most value to your clients and to your business. So you need to whittle these products, your products and services down, get anything out of your cart that's costing you money and that's not bringing value to either you and to your clients. And then speak to the customers about what they need now and into the future. So few business owners have conversations with their customers, and very often your customers can tell you what's important to them going into the next few years. And you can then think about how you use the agility in your small business to adapt to bring them those things, but staying kind of focused on your bullseye and not going off in all sorts of different directions. So let's just go over those 5 things again. First, find the time to build a plan. A couple of days a week to do it. Second, visit the plan every quarter and make sure that you're on track. What worked last quarter, what didn't work, and get onto it. Third, block out time every day to focus on the things that you need to get done, and don't let email and all sorts of other things. I mean, I only do meetings in the afternoon, but don't have other distractions that are pulling you into a whole lot of different directions. 4, we're on number 4. Whittle your products and services down. Simplify your business. Talk about that a lot. And number 5, speak to your customers. Get feedback from them on where their business is going, what's important to them, how you can help them, and how you keep aligned with delivering the value that they need. By doing all this, you're automatically going to start freeing up time and resources to focus on things like lead generation. If you imagine that you take all the complexity out of your business and you super simplify it and you're laser focused, then you pull out all of the complexity that's sucking up your time, and you free up the time to focus on things like putting in a good lead gen system, putting in a good marketing system, putting in a good sales system. Hope that all works for you. All right. Thanks very much for tuning into this week's episode. I really appreciate it. If you're interested in potentially working with me to build a more valuable business that really does thrive without you, and come time to sell, attracts outlandish offers, I'd love to hear from you. Reach out to me on LinkedIn, Jean Moncrief, or my website, jeanmoncrief.com, and drop me a note. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please support the show by leaving a review and a rating and subscribing to hear future episodes. Thanks very much for tuning in. I appreciate your time.